Hello and welcome to the Temple of Nuit. My name is Yvonne Wildheart, and this is the Capricorn full moon reading for 22nd of June 2024. I am coming from the Southern Hemisphere, and we've just had winter solstice down here, which is the longest night of the year. It is the beginning of the new solar cycle. So from now on here, it will get lighter. It's the birth of the sun. In the Northern Hemisphere, it is the summer solstice, which is the full illumination. It's the peak energy. And from then they get darker. So here we are, solstice, very powerful point in the wheel. But let's bring up the Capricorn full moon. The Capricorn full moon, here it is. This is the chart for the Capricorn full moon. It is happening here in Australian Eastern Standard Time and on the 22nd of June 2024 at 11:08 a.m. in the morning. So, and it is happening down here. So you see Capricorn here, the little glyph down here at 1 degree and 7 minutes. And opposite to that, you see here, the sun has just tipped into Cancer. That is the point of the solstice, is the Cancer point and the Capricorn point. So whenever the sun moves into Cancer, it signifies the winter solstice here in the winter in the Southern Hemisphere, which is cardinal water. It is like the womb waters, and we find here when it gets cold, it's like that coming in and connecting to the great mother that is here, that is nurturing and loving. On the opposite side of this, with the full moon, where the moon is, it's Capricorn, which is all about cardinal earth. So there's an interesting energy element play with water and earth, and it just reminds me of these seeds, especially at 1 degree, this very, very early degrees of Capricorn, this planting of seeds and nourishing them so they grow and thrive. But maybe not. Like, what are you cultivating here? What are you how are you providing safety for these seeds? And just thinking of the crab in Cancer who lives in its shell, they can only come out when they feel safe. That what seeds are you cultivating here, especially those in the Southern Hemisphere, because this is the point of the next 12 months. This is the beginning of the seeding that will show up at summer solstice in December later on this year. So the seeding, the planting of the seeds, Capricorn, cardinal earth. It's ruled by Saturn. So this full moon is ruled by Saturn, which is about the structures, and eldership and responsibility. And if you know a Capricorn in your life, especially those with Capricorn rising, you know how hard they work, and they really want to work, and they're really in service to, whatever it is that they're being, the task they're being given, but they're super focused, and there's a drive to work, and they're such champions. So I just homage to the Capricorn energy because I just adore it. Capricorn's getting bad rap, because they are so focused on work, and I think people get triggered by that because this patriarchal society wants us to all work. So and so I think there's a lot of sort of undercurrent that gets projected onto Capricorn because of that reason. But I think they just genuinely love working. It's amazing when you see, especially Capricorn risings. It's just such a beautiful, I'm a bias. My beautiful son's a Capricorn rising, but he's so focused and he loves it. He loves to work. And the thing is about Capricorn, it's an energy of the bones and building structure. It is the foundations that we are planting, but it's really interesting because the Capricorn energy is in it's in a collective sign. So it's not just for self-determination. This Capricorn energy is working for the collective. It's how do I show up and be of service and build good structures, probably for the next generation, for things to come. So there is an energy of You know, in a wounded Capricorn, there could be an energy of scarcity because of that drive of, you know, we've got to save something for next time, or we've got to save something for the next generation. But in a healed Capricorn, it is just this drive to plant good, solid seeds, the good structures for things to come. So this Capricorn energy, this is the first of two Capricorn full moons. The next one will be in July. And yeah, so this is the beginning of something, and something that will take place over the next 4 weeks of this building of energy of the Capricorn energy. Sorry, I'm just gonna pause this for a second because I got my children here. And I returned children. Oh, they're adorable. So yes, this Capricorn full moon fully illuminating this drive to plant new seeds in this cardinal energy. Cardinal is the beginning of something. So it's like this beginning of earth and the beginning of water with the Cancer energy. And look what we've got, this Cancer lineup of the sun, Venus, and Mercury here that is just, I just feel this deliciousness of, especially in the southern hemisphere, when we've got this winter solstice, we're starting a new cycle with Venus and Mercury here with the sun lighting up this cardinal water of newness. It just feels like this deep nourishment, this deep nurturing that is here available to us if we choose to open ourselves to it. It feels more easily accessible. And really interesting, this Mercury here is making like this sextile energy here, this 60-degree energy between Mars in Taurus, which is fixed Earth. So there's something occurring here between planting seeds, you know, and nourishing them, but also bringing some this fixicity or this solidness to it with Mars, who is slowly plotting, and those who have been feeling the energies, which we're all feeling, but whether we're paying attention to them or not, Mars in Taurus has really brought a slowdown after all this Gemini energy and the Aries energy. It's this Mars has come in and it's just like boom. And Mars is the planet of action. You know, it's got the glyph of pointing. It's like, let's go this direction. But with Mars in Taurus, it's just it's the bull, it's the connection to the earth. It's really feeling the earth. It's not really wanting to move. And you know, it sort of feels like it's waiting in mud a bit, and which is beautiful, especially those in the southern hemisphere of this winter solstice energy. It's a really call to slow down and to really come in and nourish ourselves and to deeply listen, because being in the winter solstice, this is the time to come in and to rest, because it sets the tone for the rest of the cycle. So if we're not getting the rest that we need now, by the time summer solstice comes around, that peak energy, we're going to be so just tired and overworked and overwhelmed because we didn't take the nourishing time now at the beginning of this cycle. So this is Mars is a real call. And you know, if you've got a lot of fire signs, I hear you, I'm there with you. It's tricky. And those who are born sort of the late 70s and um early 80s, you know, this Mars would be triggering the Chiron. There'd be some kind of Chiron wounding here around this Taurus energy that's like feels like you're stuck, or it's, you know, it's tricky. So just be aware, and knowing where your Chiron is really, really important. So listen to that. Later on in the month, we're going to have this Mars conjuncting Uranus, which is, you know, Uranus is, it's the sudden changes, and it's lightning flashes and electricity. So how this Mars will react, you know, and the thing is with Mars too in Taurus, it can get frustrated because it's not moving fast enough. When it comes with this lightning Uranus, you know, it feels like sudden jerking, waking up and not really understanding what's happening because something's happened so quickly that Mars in Taurus didn't see it. So also what we've got happening So we've got Saturn energy playing out too, because this moon is ruled by Saturn. And next week we're going to have this trine energy, this 160-degree energy that comes from Saturn all the way around to Cancer areas. So we're going to have Mercury and Venus and the Sun all making a trine aspect to Saturn, which is this watery energy of cardinal water and mutable water with Saturn there. It really feels like this opportunity that whatever's coming up at this full moon, it gives it a boost of energy to it just feels like I keep coming back to this, and those who listened to me on the Sentient Sky podcast and here in the Temple of Nuit, and those who are in the Temple of Nuit group, I banter on about Saturn in Pisces. It really feels like Saturn is the Lord of time. He's Kronos, and Pisces at the last sign of the zodiac. It feels, it's mutable water. And how does Saturn go in mutable water? It with the Lord of time, and it just feels like time, this movement of time and choosing timelines. And this is a real beautiful opportunity, just thinking of cardinal earth in Capricorn, planting seeds for the new earth. And then as the lunar cycle continues into the dark moon, into which will be the new moon in Cancer in early July, it's an opportunity to choose, how do you want to live? How do you want to proceed going into the next cycle, the next year cycle, but the next zodiac cycle, the next Saturnian cycle, which will start next year, into Aries. This is a very powerful time, and Saturn will retrograde in a couple of weeks. So it's really slowing down. It's bearing down here at this 19-degree point. This is the furthest it will go for the moment, and then it's going to come back down to, I think it's about 14 degrees. I'll have to double check that, but it will come back. So there'll be a review process here, reviewing of, is this right? Is this what we want to take into the future? Is this the timeline that we want to project or move forward with? So if we can get ourselves into a really good place before that Saturn goes retrograde, I feel that maybe the choices or the decisions or the reviewing process of Saturn in Pisces could possibly be more easeful. And this is where we begin to make friends with Saturn. And again, I banter on about making friends with Saturn because it's so important, because Saturn can dish up some really hard lessons if we're not paying attention and if we're not willing to go with Saturn. And so Saturn here, it's like, can we bring ourselves up? It reminds me, many years ago, I did a thesis on well-being and looking at measurements of well-being. And what I discovered is that there is a well-being, like a metabolic rate. So if you have a really good metabolic rate, it's sort of like it becomes like a homeostasis sort of thing. And so if we can build our well-being and our, ruled by Mercury, the messenger, the speak from this place of Venus in Cancer, which is such a lovely energy. It's like the real deep mothering, nurturing, holding energy on these cardinal waters. If we can use this full moon, and because it's it's the first of two full moons, so it feels like a very powerful lunar cycle between this full moon and the next full moon, of bringing up our well-being, our nourishment, metabolic homeostasis threshold up to a really good level. So when Saturn goes retrograde, we can be up here and look from a Saturn perspective from here, as opposed to being down here. And then, which would mean if we're doing it from a lower, depleted point, it feels like we'll just get more depleted. But where if we bring our nourishment and our love and our heart into like this great mother energy, this cardinal earth of building new structures, new seeds for the new cycle, we will we will be challenged in that, but not as much as we would be challenged if we were depleted. So this really feels like a very potent time to really come in, thinking of that little seed, that little, and just thinking also the little baby, like the fetus that is sitting in the cardinal waters. And also this is a good time to, if you have mother wounds, or if that's bringing up stuff for you, is to call for gentle workings through that, because the mother wound is so just rife through our culture, and for men and women it can be such a stifling and hold us back so much, this mother wound. And remember that our mothers, and I speak as a mother, we can only mother from a place of what we were being taught. And so and if we sit with all our mothers, our mother, their mother, the mother and the mother and the mother, there is so much trauma through the feminine line. You're just thinking of the witch wounds, but also the men who watched the witches burning, like watched their wives and their mothers burning at the stake. Oh, just feeling that so deeply. When you sit with that and bring it out into a cosmic perspective, we start to see why things are, which, can bring some humility and compassion to our mother line, and why, we were brought out in certain ways, and why our mother was brought up in certain ways, and just to bring that healing to these new seeds, these precious seeds of the cardinal energy that we are holding here in this cardinal water and this cardinal earth that's going to be with us for a whole, like, 4 weeks, as the sun travels through Cancer, and as the moon will go around and speak to all the planets, and will come back in Capricorn for the next full illumination of this. So this is the beginning of the story. So know your birth story. If you don't know Jane Hardwick Collins, go and look her up, The School of Shamanic Womancraft. They talk about birth stories. And epigenetics. There's a book called It Didn't Start With You. I'll put that in the links. Very, very important book to read, that it just talks about trauma that's been going through the lineages, and just thinking, this Saturn too, this lineage time, here we are with the timelines again, just timelines forward and back. This is what Saturn does to this energy. So just, yeah, this is an opportunity. This feels like a golden opportunity to come back and to sit with our mother heart, for all of us, for men and women, the masculine and the feminine energy, to sit with the feminine mother and just hold that, and to allow whatever's to come up, to allow the full illumination of this to come up, but call for gentleness and deep nourishment as we do this. Asks to be held. There is that spirit is around holding us if we let it in. Those who don't believe that spirit is holding us, because they can't hold, there's no holding here, of themselves in it. So, call and open ourselves up. We open ourselves up for guidance to show us these gentle and nourishing ways to heal the mother wound. That would be a good prayer under this full moon. And also just thinking of, Capricorn, it's a sea goat. It's sort of little hooves in both worlds. It's also, yes, it's the mountain goat that's working. I'm just thinking, working through the timelines. Daniel Foor's work, Ancestral Healing, that's another really important book. But also in the waters, it's sort of this emerging out of something. Can we emerge out of the past trauma and to start something new on this new earth plane? Remember the timelines. What timeline are you choosing, and what can't you take with you? and asks for gentle and guidance through this, and especially as that Saturn starts to really bear down on this last, this 19-20 degrees of Pisces before it starts to go retrograde. Because once it stops and goes direct later on in October, November, it's going to then, that's it for Pisces. It then moves out and has a big conjunction here with Neptune, and Neptune and Saturn go together into Aries, cardinal fire, at the start of next year. So these 0-degree points are very sensitive. So there's a lot happening here. Look, you got Pluto here at 0 degrees. That's going to start to move back into Capricorn again, this Capricorn energy where the full moon will be in September. I think it's the 5th of September. Early September, and moves back into Capricorn because it's in retrograde, and it will sit here where the next full moon is. It will bear down here. I think it gets to early 29 degrees or late 28 degrees of Capricorn, and then it stations retrograde, and then it moves forward, and that'll be it for Capricorn. So as I'm saying this, and this last hurrah for Pluto in Capricorn, just be aware of the things that need to be extracted out of Capricorn. What is left for an underworld journey that is left to be healed and dealt with, attended to by Capricorn. In these, as Pluto goes back into Capricorn. We'll talk about this more, but this is a really important, because this is the beginning of that information that's coming through. So it might get quite loud in the world, because what is happening for you is within, is without. It's also happening out in the world, and just know it's a healing process. Things need to come out. That is Pluto's realm, is to extract things coming up from the underworld. And as I'm saying, I'm really feeling that lineage work, ancestral healing work, especially around the mother and the feminine wounding, and and that masculine energy wounding of being shut down because they couldn't say anything to save their women. Feeling that through my body. So that is it. That is the Capricorn full moon. This is a really big one. So much love to you all, and from my heart to your heart, and those in the Southern Hemisphere, I'm just sending you so much warmth, and may your home and heart be warm and nourished. And those in the Southern and Northern Hemisphere, happy summer solstice, happy peak. Enjoy this time of full illumination of the light in your land, and the warmth that is spreading across there. Celebration. So much love from my heart to yours. Take care. Happy Capricorn full moon.